Hello, hello, it's Wyatt. It is Pride Month, and so I want to make a Pride quilt this month. And now, if Pride is not your thing, it's not your vibe, that's fine. Don't get your threads in a knot. This is quilting, not politics, okay? Rainbow quilts in general are just really aesthetically pleasing and make people happy, so if this is just a normal, regular rainbow quilt for you, that's fine. But to me, this quilt represents being proud of who I am and the things that I've accomplished, as well as being proud of the person I'm going to grow into and the things and the opportunities that are to come my way, and a way of celebrating that. And wherever this quilt ends up and whoever ends up having this quilt, I want it to make them feel safe and to feel heard and to feel accepted, and whenever this quilt is around them, to just give them a hug of comfort. And just, you know, quilts have power, and I want this quilt to be able to hold the power of truth, because truth is the only thing we have. It's a beautiful thing, and in this crazy world with so much going on, I just want this quilt to be full of truth and light and happiness, and for it to carry a part of me and a part of my voice wherever it goes and whoever has it. And so that's what this quilt is going to mean for me. Yeah, so I've been working on this quilt for over a week now, and I just have one more block to make to sew onto the rest of the quilt. I'm not going to show you it yet, it's going to be a surprise, so you're going to have to stay till the very, very end. But I'm just going to start sewing along and, yeah, just chatting with you. So, I made this quilt a couple months ago for my cousin, and in my opinion it is one of the most beautiful quilts I've ever made so far. And it's just made with a bunch of neutrals and a few little colors, but it's mostly just tan and white. It's gorgeous. The pattern is called Gemstone from Laundry Basket Quilts, so it's beautiful. But while I was making that quilt, my mom had one of those, well, I wonder what happens if moments. And so she had an idea of a way that we could change the inside square. And so then I ended up making this quilt for her birthday, that's in all of her favorite colors. It's greens and blues and yellows. And it's also really, really cute, just a completely different pattern. So when I was thinking about how I wanted to make a pride quilt, I kind of immediately knew that I wanted to make that pattern that my mom and I had come up with together and make it rainbow. So that's what I've been working on now. I made me a little mock-up on Google Sheets of the colors so that I could try to see what it would look like in the diagonal. These ones down here did not print very well from the library printer. These are supposed to be purple in this corner, but this is like my little pattern that I've been following as far as the layout goes of getting the colors to, whatever this is, getting the colors to go on the diagonal. But with my mom's quilt that I had made for her birthday, the colors around the square were all the same color, but with this one I've been doing, they're all scrappy around, as long as they all fit, like the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens, and the blues, that's fine. But I didn't want them to be the same, and I didn't have enough in my scraps to make them the same all the way around. So they are just a little scrappy and cute, but yeah. So I'm just sewing on the top and bottom of this purple one real quick. So this is what the block looks like when it's done. So the width of the fabric is all 2.5, it's just different lengths. So these were all 2.5-inch squares, and then this is 2.5 by 6.5. So they're all just 2.5. And then we just have to add our, oh, I am missing fabric. I am missing 2 pieces of white strips. I need a 2.5 white strip on this side that's 2.5 by 6.5, and a 2.5 by 6.5 on this side. And I don't have those, so I gotta go cut some fabric and I'll be right back. Alright, I went and got these cut, so I'm gonna add these to the 2 sides. So for me, I like to add them to the side that has the seams rather than adding it to the top. So I'm going to add those to the two sides. Now for these two seams right here that I just sewed, it naturally wants to fall out and go towards the white, which I know technically breaks the quilting seam rule where you iron to the dark, but there's just so much bulk on this side because there's the two seams, so it doesn't want to fold that way. So it doesn't bother me at all. So I just iron it towards the white, out away from the center, and it doesn't bother me at all. Now the next part we need to add is another 2.5 inch square of color with more of the white. Now it's important to make sure for my quilt, because I want it to be going from, let's see, mine is going from the top right to the bottom left for the diagonal. So when like in my little pattern, when I put these colors on, I have to make sure that the color is in the top right and the bottom left. It really doesn't matter which one you choose if you wanted to make a quilt like this. It doesn't matter which side you put it on. What matters is that you make all your blocks the same. So if you went top left and bottom right, that would be fine. You just have to make all of them the same, or else it won't diagonal because your squares will be going different ways. So we just have to stitch these little 2.5 inch squares onto the color. So I'm just nesting my seams right here. I'm going to put a pin in. I like to put a pin. I just make sure that I pin enough away that I'm not going to run into it while I'm sewing. Now I have a little bit extra fabric on my pieced one. It's just a tiny bit bigger, so I'm going to put it through the sewing machine with my strip piece on the top and my block on the bottom, because the feed dogs will pull in a little bit more fabric. I mean, I'm just like a hair longer on the bottom. Okay, now I just need to iron. And again, I'm pressing these away from the center. It doesn't bother me at all, and it seems to want to go that way, so I just go that way. I know everybody's 1/4 inch seam allowance is a little bit different, and every sewing machine is different, so it just depends on whatever size that this ends up being is how big you're going to cut your background square. And I found this really cool, I don't know, geometric blue fabric. I think it's really pretty. It's got a little bit of texture to it, but I just found this at Joann's, which gotta love Joann's and their coupons for fabric. So now I need to look at my row here and remember, looking at my pattern, I have to end with a purple on my row. I'm gonna put my pattern over there. So I've got to add a purple to this end and this blue to the other end. It took me a minute to figure that out, I'm sorry. Okay, so again, I'm gonna lay this on here. And I'm going to just pin my two corners, my two ends, to make sure that they line up nicely. And as I'm pinning this together, I can tell that my pieced square seems to be just a tiny bit bigger, or have a little bit more extra fabric than my background square that I cut. You know, nothing's perfect. I don't make perfect things. Sometimes my blocks are a little varied in size. But I'm just gonna again put the one, so my piece square that has a little bit more fabric to it, I'm gonna put that on the bottom because the feed dogs will pull in that extra fabric and then they'll line up just fine. It won't matter. And if it bothers you, I'm sorry. Just turn away and don't look. Don't watch. Alright, that's the last row all done. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this on to the rest of the rows. I'm going to time lapse it so you don't have to watch the whole thing. I am in love. Are you ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. Absolutely in love. Hold on, let me get the red side. I wish I had a big design wall to show you this on. Isn't it adorable? Isn't it so cool? I'll try to get some different shots of it to show you. But here it is, it's all finished. I really hope the colors come up nice. The green row. I mean, the green row is my absolute favorite. I think it turned out really pretty. I'm really happy. It's really fun when an idea in your head actually works in real life. It's so pretty. Oh, I'm just so excited. Anyway, this will definitely only be part 1 because I still want to put a border around it. I want to somehow continue the rainbow pattern in the border, like the scrappy rainbow going around the edge. So I gotta figure out that. And I also need to figure out how I want to finish it. If I want to hand quilt it or take it to my long arm quilter and have it machine quilted. I don't know. Let me know if you're watching this and you have an opinion. I don't know. Put it in the comments and see if anybody's watching this and they might have an idea about what they think, how they think it should be finished. Drop a comment. But for now, this is going to be part 1, and part 2 will come soon. Probably not for a while, because for the next 2 weeks I'm teaching at a ballet summer intensive. So I'm going to be pretty busy. And I might not have a lot of time to work on quilts, or this quilt, which makes me really sad. But I'm going to try to get it done before the end of the month, for Pride. Anyway, thanks for watching, and bye for now.